What's going on, everyone? This is Jay from Premier Gaming Entertainment, and I'm here to bring to you today my takeaways and analysis video for this week's game versus Penn State. Let me know how you feel in the comments section below about today's game. Were you impressed with our showing today? Do you think that there's room for improvement? Let me know how you feel about how the game turned out in the comments section below. You know, I did say before the game in my predictions video, there was always some concern, but I felt in my heart that, James Franklin with his teams coming to the big house, with the exception of that COVID year when we were running walk-ons on defense, that every time he comes here, it's a blowout. So I was pretty confident that we were going to win the game, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. We were hearing about Penn State's vaunted run defense, top 5 in the nation, and obviously that was all, the numbers were skewed on that, based off who they played, teams that were pass happy and never really ran the football, teams like Purdue. So if you face a team that doesn't run the football a lot, obviously that's going to pad your stats for your run defense. Well, obviously, whatever their rank was, it took a hit today. Because not only Blake Corum, but also Donovan Edwards ran all over them for 418 yards. This was a dominating game from start to finish. There was no let up. And the funny thing is, the scoreboard showed one thing, but the game showed another thing. Now, if you weren't watching the game and you looked at the halftime score, you would have been like, man, this is a close game. No. This game was never close, despite what the score would tell you. Unlucky pick six off a deflection again. One, I'm not gonna say broken play, but one run from Clifford for like 60-something yards, and then I think like one pass play where he just kind of got it in there. I mean, that was their whole game. That's how they got 17 points. I mean, you can basically attribute that to 3 plays got them 17 points. And that was it. The defense played amazing. And the offense, especially the offensive line, just making holes that a Mack truck could get through. Like I said, this was a dominating game from start to finish. Don't let the score fool you. This game was not as close as it looked. And you know how it's... I didn't even realize this until after, when I looked at the box score. The game was so dominating for Michigan that they didn't even punt for the whole entire game. Let that sink in. They didn't punt at all for the whole entire game. So, and it's amazing that despite it being that much of a dominating game, there was a whole lot of concern. That I'm going to talk about in a moment. But this was not a flawless game where, Michigan did everything right. Obviously, like I said, it was a pick six. But I'm not even talking about that. You would think that not punting for the whole entire game and dominating the way that they did, that there wouldn't be any negatives that I need to talk about. But there were. So it's one of those things where now you look at it, the whole thing, the whole theme coming into this game was, oh, Michigan hasn't played anybody yet. We don't know how good they are. They played nobody all season. They haven't been tested. So now that they played Penn State and beat the brakes off of them, now, does this count? I mean, have they beaten someone yet? I mean, they were a top 10 team. So does this count as them being tested? Does this count as them playing somebody? Because I know what the narrative is going to be, that, oh, well, Penn State was overrated. They're not really the top 10 team. They still haven't played anybody. You know how it goes. You get an accomplishment, and then all of a sudden, once you do what people said that you couldn't do or didn't think that you could do, all of a sudden they move the goalposts. So I'm waiting to see, the haters and the critics, whether or not they're going to give some sort of acknowledgement of the result, or whether or not they're going to move the goalposts and say that they still haven't played anybody. So that's a wait and see thing. We're going to see what people say. Do I think that maybe Penn State was a little bit overrated myself personally? Perhaps. I've never been a fan of James Franklin and his teams. Never thought of him as being the greatest coach. So that is what it is as far as that goes. But I mean, you got to give the team some sort of credit. Nobody thought that we'd be able to run on them. And we ended up running for 418 yards. So I think that's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. But like I said, even though we dominated from start to finish, even though we didn't punt, so our offense obviously was doing some great things. It was consistent all game long. I still do have, concerns. So obviously, the first one is it's a concern, but I guess based off of, how well we ran the football, I guess that kind of counters that. But when JJ didn't exactly have the best game, so I was kind of concerned about his play. Still, missing some throws and stuff like that. So I was kind of concerned about that. But, one thing that I was happy and pleased to see is him finally start to use his legs. And I don't mean just for design run plays, which were good too, but it was good to see him take off when there was open field and get a few not touchdowns, but first downs with his legs. So I was really happy about that. There's been times in the past where instead of doing that, he would, hang around in the pocket, try to buy himself some time, dance around, spin around, and, be looking to hit that pass when he could just escape the pocket, take off, and get a first down with his legs. So I was happy to start to see him do that, because we're going to need more of that in the future. Also, it was good to see them run him a little bit more on design runs and stuff like that. I know a lot of people have been complaining about him not necessarily getting design runs, and part of the reason could be that they're not doing that is because of the health of Cade. So, I'm sure they don't want it to be that they put him in harm's way by making him run the football and he takes a big hit and he's out and then they don't have a backup. So I guess from that standpoint, I understand them, kind of playing it safe. But it was good to see them come out with a few design runs, because this makes him a threat. It makes the running game even more effective. So I was glad to see that. The second concern, which was a huge concern, is this whole red zone efficiency thing. So, we scored 41 points. We only scored one touchdown at I think 5 attempts in the red zone. Kicked 4 field goals. So this game shouldn't even have been as close as it was. The halftime score, 16-14, shouldn't have been even that close. It should have been like 28 to 10 or something like that. We were absolutely blowing these guys out. They couldn't stop us. We were moving the football with ease. And yet the score didn't reflect it. So, this offense has been pretty good for this whole entire year. We were at Iowa with this great defense, but Michigan was able to move the football on them pretty much at ease. Penn State was supposed to have this juggernaut defense. Same thing. They couldn't stop us the whole entire game. So, pretty pleased with that, but this red zone stuff. And it's weird because, you would think that with the weapons that we have in the that the red zone should be pretty easy for us, but it's not. It's been a struggle. This is something that we dealt with from before, where we were just kicking field goals all the time and not scoring touchdowns. And, we got away with it for this game because, we were able to just dominate from start to finish. But against better teams, against Ohio State, we can't afford to be kicking field goals. We got to score and punch it in the red zone. That's just the bottom line. And I don't know what it is. It's just a lack of creativity, to be honest with you. We can't always just hand it off to Blake Corum and just expect him to get us a touchdown. There has to be different plays that we can run in the red zone to score. Because if we don't, like I said, 16-14, we had no business being that close at halftime. No business at all. Better team than Penn State would take advantage of that mistake that we're making, and we could be down, 28-16 instead of being up 16-14. So that has to be cleaned up. But overall, I was pleased with the outcome. So, we're 7-0 now. We got a bye week, and then we got Michigan State at home. Now, let me tell you, just my personal opinion, I think the bye week is overrated. I saw a lot of people commenting in the forums online talking about how Penn State had a week to prepare, and this is what they got out of it. The bye week to me is overrated. If anything, it's probably a detriment to the teams that get it as opposed to being an advantage. Because look how Penn State came out after their bye week. They didn't look, uber prepared and scheming and having different wrinkles to their game that totally affected Michigan. I didn't see anything that bye week was an advantage for them. So I just always felt that is always an overrated thing. They had a bye week, so they should be, we should be worried about that. I've never been worried or concerned about that. So I'm just gonna give a quick rating of the different groups before the end of the video. So I'm going to start off with the quarterback, JJ. I'm going to give him like a C-. Like I said, not the greatest game. Obviously he didn't have to throw it, so I guess what would be the point, but when he did throw it, he wasn't, it wasn't his best game. Threw a pick six. On the positive, like I said, he was running the football better, whether it was be a design run or scrambling to get first downs. So that was a positive. So I'm gonna give him a C minus. Running backs, obviously I'm gonna give him A plus. What can I say? 418 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, 2 apiece for Corum and Edwards. Can't complain about that. Played an awesome game. The wide receivers, because of the running, didn't really have to do a lot, but did get some key first downs. Obviously, downfield blocking. So I'm going to give them a B. Not anything special done in particular. So it's going to be tight ends. I'm going to give them an A. Not anything particular as far as the passing game, but obviously with the run blocking, helping with the run blocking, helping to open up those holes. I'm definitely impressed with that. And then also the offensive line, A plus. Did give up 1 sack, but made up for it for the most part. JJ wasn't pressured, and obviously making those lanes for the running backs to get through those holes. I mean, you have to give them an A plus for that. Moving on to the defense, the defensive line, I'm going to give them an A. Did get a couple of sacks, I think, but more than anything else, it didn't necessarily even have to be that they were getting the sacks, but they were getting pressure and affecting Clifford's timing, making him throw the ball, throw it away, or throw it faster than he needed to. So I'm giving him an A. The linebackers, they played pretty well. This vaunted Penn State rushing attack with 2 lethal freshmen. People made it seem as though they were going to rush for like 500 yards against us. And like I said, if you take out that one rushing play from Sean Clifford, they didn't do anything all game. I mean, they're pretty much averaging about 3 yards a carry. The run defense was spectacular, and proud of them for the way that they handled that. So I'm going to give the linebackers an A. Also, the secondary, also an A. I think that they passed for, like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like 12 for 29 or something like that, below 50%. So they did an amazing job. Did give up, that one big play, but it only resulted in the field goal anyways. So that's, I'm happy with that. And overall the defense played well. Only giving up 3 points in the second half. So it seems like Michigan has turned into this stellar second half team where, as long as they go into the half of the lead, the second half seems like they just dominate. And special teams, A as well. 4 field goals from Jake Moody. Hate to see it. You'd prefer that they were touchdowns as opposed to field goals, but you just have to take the points. So overall, very, very pleased with the game. Like I said, I was expecting a closer game, but Michigan came out and made a statement, a huge statement. So it's interesting to see where we'll be ranked after after this week. It's going to be interesting to see what the critics say as far as whether or not this was a quality win or not, or if they still haven't played anybody. We'll have to wait and see. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. As always, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like on the video. I really appreciate it. It definitely helps the channel. Leave me a comment in the comment section below if you got this far. Let me know how you felt about the game. Do you think James Franklin is a good coach, or do you think that Penn State made a mistake giving him that huge contract extension? If you like my content, definitely subscribe to the channel. Trying to grow the channel as big as possible. So if you like my video, please subscribe. So anyways, thank you for watching the video, and as always, go blue.